Welcome to Boston News Net. I'm Kristina Smarz, sitting in for JR Strauss, and these are your top stories. The North End has its share of pastimes, food, clandestine mafia activity, and most famously, bocce. Over 100 gathered in Langone Park on Thursday to witness a competition during the 15th annual Greater Boston Senior Games. The winning team's strategy, according to neighbor Nicholas Foligno, was that they, quote, play all year round, as opposed to their competitors who were presumably given some vino and then thrust into the semifinals. Leading the cheers was one Tom Menino, who appreciated not having to speak in complete sentences.
Great time to have a recreational time, but folks who really love this game and also love this country love the North End.
He tossed a few ceremonial balls and received a little bit of ribbing from 60-year-old Natalie DeMarco, who at one point accused the mayor of stepping over the line during a throw.
He did a half and a half today, but he was cheat all the time. He was a cheat about, not 100%, but 75%. Walk allowed when you shoot to pass the line.
Menino good-naturedly responded by laughing, which means he'll likely close the park, sink the rest of the surrounding area into the sea, and announce the development of waterfront condos. Last week, Cambridge-based construction company Modern Continental, one of the largest big dig contractors, pleaded guilty to 39 charges of overbilling and lying about construction problems. The U.S. Attorney's Office has accused the company of felony culpability regarding defects in the big dig, and fines could total as much as $19.5 million. Due to the history of campaign contributions the company has made to local politicians and the legal loopholes available to large corporations, the actual amount the company will have to pay is likely to be somewhat less, or, as one attorney for Modern Continental put it, quote, "We believe the government will recover nothing in regard to this conviction." Those angered by this decision, especially in the wake of the deadly 2006 ceiling collapse in the Ted Williams Tunnel, should note that the court did not hold Modern Continental responsible for that particular accident. Instead, blame will remain solely with the Power Fasteners Incorporated, the company that supplied the glue that holds the tunnel's 3-ton ceiling panels in place. In related news, the 3-ton ceiling panels in the Ted Williams Tunnel are held in place by glue. Anyone who has tried to wait for a flight at Boston Logan's airport knows the frustration of long lines, confusion at the security checkpoints, and the all-too common annoyance of not being allowed to bring a gun on board a plane. One local man, 48-year-old Stephen Grant of Rockland, was tired of being treated like a second-class unarmed citizen and found his own way around the lines and red tape by impersonating a federal agent. For those interested in replicating Grant's actions, don't worry, it wasn't that hard. Really, you only need two things. First, a realistic badge to flash, such as the one Grant had from his position as a part-time assistant harbor master for the town of Chatham. And the second thing you should have is a security screener dumb enough to mistake a harbor master's badge for an air marshal's. Of course, we'd like to remind audience members who are thinking about trying this on his or her own that these resources are sometimes hard to come by. Well, the badges are anyway. After listening to tonight's top stories, you might be led to believe that traveling in Boston could lead to sudden death. And while this is mostly accurate, there is some good news for T-riders. The MBTA has banned all bus and subway drivers from using cell phones while on duty. The ban follows last week's Green Line crash, which was the result of a driver being distracted because he was texting his girlfriend. So, if you're taking the T, breathe a sigh of relief. You can stop worrying about negligent drivers and get back to focusing on all of the other things that will probably kill you on the subway, namely all of the other passengers. And those were your top stories.